The World Cup began just over a week ago, and it's been quite the dramatic beginning, to say the least. After their hiatus in 2018, the U.S. is back with Christian Pulisic leading the charge. Welcome back to Penn State Sports Night. I'm Cailey Thalman alongside Josh Bartosik and Tim Rogers. This year seems to hold special value as Neymar, Messi, and Ronaldo are likely playing in their final World Cup. With that being said, the group stage is coming to a close towards the end of this week, and some unlikely teams have pulled off some pretty magnificent upsets so far. Japan's 2-1 victory over Germany and Saudi Arabia's 2-1 win over Argentina both stunned the world. Other teams have performed just as expected. So Tim, Brazil, Germany, and France all came in as favorites to win this World Cup. Some of them have lived up to expectations, some of them haven't. Walk me through that. Tell me who you've been disappointed with, who you've been surprised by, and who has lived up to those expectations.
Well, I'll start up with living to expectations, and this team looks like a wagon right now, and that's France. I mean, Mbappe is truly the world's best player right now. I mean, obviously Erling Haaland's not able to showcase his talent right now with his team, or Norway not making the World Cup, but this man is 23 years old and has 7 goals, already more than Thierry Henry, who's one of the legends of the sport, and especially in France. This is only his 2nd World Cup. And, you know, the curse of the past champions not being able to get out of the group stage, that's not happening this time. Mbappe already getting France 2 wins. And, look, I need to give credit where credit is due. France as a whole is doing a great job, especially within the midfield. Losing guys like Kanté and Pogba for the World Cup is not easy to overcome, and yet they have done that. Also, Olivier Giroud, I love him. He's got, like, no pace whatsoever, but he still scores the goals, and that's all that matters. Now, talk about no pace. Belgium is a team that I truly had high expectations for coming into this one, especially how they done in the Euros and as well as last year's World Cup, or last World Cup that happened in 2018. But age has really caught up to them. Their defense is not looking good. I mean, their average age at defense, I believe, is 36 years old. I'm not a big, mathematician. I am a comm major here, but I don't think that's a good thing when your combined ages are 36 on defense. I feel bad for Kevin De Bruyne. He's one of the world's best midfielders, if not the best midfielder in the world right now, playing for Man City, but he's got no help right now.
Yeah, I mean, you make some pretty good points. I do love watching France right now. They've been one of the best teams to watch right now in the World Cup, but I'm going to go with my surprise team. You kind of alluded to it earlier in the opener, but Saudi Arabia. Shocking everybody to knocking down Argentina, Lionel Messi. Everyone thinks that Argentina is always a favorite, but Saudi Arabia looks really good right now. They're in a very good spot to advance to the round of 16. They've got one more match against Mexico. I think they can a draw or a win puts them through the next round, and they've been just incredible. Their goaltender, whose name I'm not going to try and say because I don't want to mispronounce it, but he was absolutely spectacular in the game against Argentina and their second game as well. He's been really, really solid. And Saudi Arabia is a team that I don't think anyone saw coming into this as a team that could compete in a group that has teams like Argentina and Mexico. You would normally expect those two to be the teams, but now you see Mexico is probably at a very high risk of falling out, and Saudi Arabia is in the position to move forward. But you talk about a team that has no pace and former teams. What's going on with Germany? This is a team that won it all in 2014, and they kept the curse alive in 2018. It's going to happen again. They're about to have back-to-back group stage eliminations. They have looked terrible. They have not looked good. They had a draw against Spain, but everyone's going to talk about that 2-1 loss to Japan. That just came out of nowhere. It's just really not been working for Germany, and it's a team that's also very old, and this is the last time we're going to see a lot of those main key players that you normally see on that squad, and for them to fall out in the group stage yet again is just really big disappointment for not just that team, but their country as a whole.
Yeah, Tim, I'm going to have to agree with you. France has looked almost unbeatable on both sides of the ball. They're so solid so far in this tournament. Mbappe is something truly incredible that we are getting to witness. He's just 23 years old. He's got quite the future ahead of him, and I'm really excited to see how he plays throughout the rest of the tournament. Another team I've really liked watching so far is Spain. They came out against Costa Rica and put up a great performance, 7 goals, which is unusual in a World Cup, even against a lower opponent. And then against Germany, yes, it ended in a draw, but Spain had over 60% of the possession. They controlled the ball on both sides of the field. Germany got a lucky break there towards the end, but I think Spain has looked really incredible so far, and I think they could make a bit of a run for it in this tournament. So now looking at the U.S., they came in as a bit of an underdog. They weren't expected to do much and have somehow pulled out 2 draws, one against a team they maybe should have beaten, Wales, and another against the team that they almost were certainly going to lose to. England. Christian Pulisic has been the face of the U.S. team this year and this tournament. How do you think the U.S. has performed so far, and what do they have to do to beat Iran and move to the next round of?
Yeah, well, you kind of mentioned it a little bit. They played a really, really, really good first half against Wales, and that second half was just really poor. They had the game in the bag and just could not perform. They played way too passive. They were trying to prevent a loss and ended up getting a draw. What we saw for the majority of that game against England was absolutely incredible. They controlled the majority of pace of play, and coming into that game, everyone was talking about the argument between football versus soccer, but kind of like the War of 1812, there were no winners in that game, so we're just going to have to ignore that argument until later on in this World Cup if those two teams end up playing each other again. But for the U.S., it really goes back to just playing the same way that they played against Wales in that first half and how they played against England, but they have to find a way to connect on their scoring opportunities. Christian Pulisic had a near goal against England, had a couple of great chances as well, but they're going to have to find a way to just put the ball in the back of the net. It's very simple, really, put the ball in the back of the net, but it's been very hard for this USA team. But someone that I've really, really liked so far has been Matt Turner coming in. This is the first World Cup that we've had with the U.S., the post-Tim Howard era, and he's been really, really sharp. Saved a couple of guaranteed goals against England and was really solid against Wales as well. So for him to keep playing the way that he is exactly what the U.S. needs coming into their match against Iran tomorrow, as of now that we're shooting this. And, it's really going to come down to playing the same aggressive style that we've seen them playing before, but to actually be able to convert on the chances they've been given.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, great point, too, about Matt Turner. I think him going to Arsenal this past summer really has helped his development and really helped his game going against true England players, guys that have been playing in the Premier League. But I won't lie to you, it does put a smile to my face that England did not win that game, as the United States outclassed them. Absolutely. I mean, Weston McKennie had a great chance there in the 25th minute. And as you alluded to, that shot by Pulisic right off the crossbar, that was a missile. I mean, I don't know how he got the power on that ball. I played soccer, and I was not that good. That's why I'm here at this desk. But when you look at this team, their defense has to be talked about. There's no question that Anthony Robinson has truly been one of the best. I mean, he's got 100 stamina. He goes up and down the pitch like it's nothing for him, and it's absolutely incredible to see. Serginho Dest has been great. Tim Ream, Walker Zimmerman gave up that penalty kick, and he didn't have to against Wales, and I think that's why that one really stings for the U.S. and their fans right now. But that first half against Wales was almost perfect. I mean, Tim Weah, I love the way he is playing. He is doing such a great job on the wing. I want him up top. I want to put him up at striker. Get Brendan Aronson some minutes. Get Gio Reyna some minutes. These are guys that are playing in big-time leagues, the Premier League and the Bundesliga. They know how to score these big-time goals, and that's exactly what the U.S. needs to do. I do think they beat Iran, and I could see them beating the Netherlands, too, in the next round, but we have to wait and see tomorrow.
I do think the U.S. has the potential to get to the quarterfinals in this World Cup, but that second half against Wales is what really, really worries me. They looked slow, they looked tired, and I think in order for the U.S. to make it to that potential quarterfinals, they need to finish the ball. They're getting to the final third. Pulisic is getting the chance to take corners, but they can't do anything off those corners, and they're not getting the ball in the back of the net. And no matter how many chances you create for yourself, if you don't finish the ball, wins don't come out of it. And so we kind of mentioned earlier the U.S. is now a little bit of a dark horse maybe. Who is your dark horse to go a little bit farther than expected in this World Cup so far?
I got to go with Poland here. I mean, for a guy of the talent of Robert Lewandowski to only get his first World Cup goal now is incredible. But I think now that he got that first one, he is going to be going on a scoring rampage right now. I have them going in the semifinals. I have them as the Final Four team right now. I think they win their group. I think they draw against Argentina, which is all they need to do to top the group, and they are playing great right now. Matty Cash, their right back, has done a great job delivering some nice balls into the box. He's almost been money with it a little bit. If you see what I did there? You like that one? Anyways,
I did.
When you look at this team and how they play, it's a very tight structure. They don't let you come down the middle. They make you beat them from the sides, and Messi loves running up that middle. Other teams really like that. I think Poland has a really good shot to shock a lot of people in this World Cup.
I think Poland's a great team. I'm a little bit of a Polish national myself, so I always like seeing when Poland does well. But I'm going to go over to Ecuador. I think that this is a team that not a lot of people are talking about. They're in one of those groups that, that haven't been getting as much attention as some of those other ones. You get obviously you have the groups with Argentina and, Portugal and all this and that, because, Ronaldo and Messi, everyone loves talking about them. But this is an Ecuador team that's been playing some really, really solid soccer/football. We're not going to get into that debate right now, but they had an excellent 90-plus minutes against Qatar in their first match, and this continued into their next match as well. And they've really, really surprised me and been playing at an elite level. The issue is that their top scorer had to get stretchered off in their last game, and he scored their last 6 World Cup goals, every goal so far in this World Cup as well. Now, if they can get some depth scoring from the rest of their 11, obviously you have more guys coming in, trying to switch up the formations a bit to try and see what you can do with that, without your top guy. But if you can get other guys going, this is a team that could go very deep. You mentioned semifinals. I think they could do that as well, especially if they get their top guy back. But again, we'll have to see how long he's out with his injury. But I think Ecuador is too good of a team to really count out in this year's World Cup.
I think both of those are great picks. Another team I've been really looking at is Croatia, actually, so far. I think they had a great dominant performance against Canada, and they've looked good in their first 2 games. They're ahead of both Belgium and Morocco in Group F, and they're looking to make a run for it a little bit, maybe get to the quarter or semifinals. And they came into this World Cup with less expectations than they did in the 2018 World Cup. They obviously got to the finals in that one and eventually lost to France, but I think they're a little bit on a mission to prove themselves this year, as they've kind of lost a little bit of momentum and are kind of looking to catch up a little bit. That's a wrap for this edition of Penn State Sports Night. The U.S. is set to play Iran at 2 p.m. on Tuesday, with more great matches to come later in the week. With a lot of round of 16 spots still in question, there will be some great soccer ahead of us. For Tim Rogers and Josh Bartosik, I'm Cailey Thalman. Have a great night.
Hey everybody, thank you for tuning into this edition of Penn State Sports Night. We hope you liked that segment.
And we're sure there's other Penn State Sports Night segments that you are going to love as well. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content.
And check us out on social media for updates and behind-the-scenes clips and pics. Follow us on Twitter at PSSN TV and on Instagram at PSU Sports Night to keep up with all the action.
For all of us here at the Belisari Media Center, we are
Penn State Sports Night.